Hello, everybody. So I first need to adjust this format here again. So it might be a little bit too close for the Instagram people, but as long as you can see me, everything's fine. Hello and a warm welcome from my side. My name is Lisa Janssen. I'm also known as Job Coach Germany. How are you doing, you beautiful miracle all around the globe? I hope you had a wonderful day and did have the chance to enjoy the weather a little bit. Here in Germany, it is actually getting warmer and warmer. So I kind of have the feeling that the summer is finally here. Yeah, so a lot of people are going to little open airs and outside events and going to the swimming pool and so on. So that's really, really good. I also try to spend my afternoons or free time in the park. And so I came across an Instagram post this morning, and that's the topic that I want to talk to you about today. It's basically, should I quit my job or change something about the job that I currently have? So it's the topic about career change. That is a very central topic with regards to my coaching. And most of the times, it's not a question, and Spotter is here. Hi, Spotter. Hi. So most of the times when people approach me who are looking for a job from outside of Germany, it doesn't really involve a career change. Sometimes they want to use this opportunity to come to Germany and define their career completely from scratch. But most of the times my coachees have a clear idea of, okay, so this is the experience that I have, this is what I've studied, and that's the direction where I want to go in. That's the career path that I want to follow and pursue, at least for the first couple of days when they come to Germany. And that's also my recommendation. And Maxwell is here as well. Hi, Maxwell. Thanks for joining. You guys can let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Are you already in Germany, or where are you currently? Maxwell and Spotter, let me know. So so basically, what I normally recommend, or what my opinion is, it is even more difficult to come to Germany and change your career, because there are so many different things that are going on in your life that it just can simply be overwhelming. So you're changing your location, which basically means you are giving up your house or the place where you have stayed. So you're looking for a new apartment, you're looking for new bureaucracy, new rules, a new government style. You leave your friends behind, you need to find new friends. Then on top of all of that, you want to switch your career. So go into a field that you might not feel familiar with. But there's always a possibility to change that. Yeah. So when do people actually come to me to ask about the career change? But first of all, so Spotter is in Nigeria. Hi, that's good. And Maxwell's in Ghana. Okay, wow, really, really cool. So international here. As I said, you beautiful miracles all around the globe. I'm so happy that you're here. Hopefully you will learn something. So I am going to ask a couple of questions that you can take notes on, so that you have a feeling of, okay, do I actually feel comfortable with the situation that I'm in right now? And it can also help you with finding the direction of whether you want to come to Germany and quit your job in that sense, like quit your job back home, but go for a new job in Germany. Then obviously I'm the perfect person to talk to. But some people also contact me after they have been living here in Germany for quite some time, and then they come across a really weird feeling. And this really weird feeling is that people from outside, so their family, friends, and their social circle tells them, oh, you have this wonderful job, you have a great job, you get a really good salary, you are your job is safe and secured for the next couple of years, and you should feel very lucky. You feel really lucky, don't you? And then there is this little voice in your head that sometimes tells you, well, everybody else says that I should be happy, but somehow I'm not. I don't feel comfortable with the situation that I'm in. And that could be the tiniest little thing. So, so basically what you need to figure out for yourself is whether you actually need to change the employer, whether you need to change the company because the culture of the company doesn't fit to you, the management style doesn't fit to you, or whether you can stay with that company and do a couple of little adjustments that make you feel more comfortable, that make you feel more fulfilled. And here is a very interesting research that I came across and that I've spoken about a couple weeks or if not months ago, that in Germany, it is very, very typical that we have a very long work life cycle with one employer. So loyalty is a huge thing with German companies, and it is changing. It has been changing the past 10 years, I would say, but through the pandemic, this has now accelerated. But in Germany, the average person would stick within their job with their employer for 10 years. That's the average. That basically, I also know people that have, and that have worked with me as well, who were with their employer for 20 years and then changed, either because they felt unfulfilled or the company had just given up a subsidiary where that particular person was working in, and so on. And then they thought, okay, I would stay here until my retirement, and then all of a sudden the company let them go. So that is very difficult, because if you have in your head, okay, I thought that I would stay here until my retirement and now nothing is secured anymore, this can feel like somebody's pulling the rug underneath you. Yeah. I don't know if you say that, but in German it's like, jemand hat mir den Teppich unter den Füßen, den Boden unter den Füßen weggezogen. Something like that. So, so basically that's something that you need to figure out for yourself. It doesn't always, if you feel unfulfilled, it doesn't always have to be that you have to change your employer. But it is important for you to ask yourself some questions. And the first indicator for you to find out that you are not satisfied with your job is when you wake up in the morning and you don't feel like going to work. That can already start. So in Germany, our normal weekday is from Monday to Friday. So on Sunday, you kind of get already in the mental state of going to work next day, right? And that can already be an indicator. If you have like a belly ache or you just feel uneasy, that could be an indicator that you're not happy with your job anymore. If you cannot sleep, you feel stressed, and so on. So that's a very, very good sign. Or first, it's not a good sign. Obviously, it's not a good feeling, but it will help you to figure out at what stage in your career life you are at. And so when I said in Germany, it's typical that we stay, or on average, we stay in our job for 10 years. Then when we look at, for example, the UK, it would be 2 to 3 years. And when we are looking at the United States, for example, it is 1 to 2 years. And that's how often they change their jobs, which is completely new in the German labor market. Because conservative companies and hiring managers and the company culture in general was always advertising that it is very important that you stick with that company for a long time. Otherwise, you wouldn't be loyal to the company. Yeah, that was also a very interesting experience that I had when I was working in the UK, because I saw many of my colleagues just simply moving every 2 years to a competitor. And in Germany, that wouldn't have been possible. In Germany, at that time when I was working there, my colleagues would have said, no, we make a huge red cross in their personal file, and they are not allowed to come back for the next 5 years, at least, if not at all, because they went to a competitor. And that's kind of like going to the enemy. So that was different in the UK. At least where I was working in the UK, it was more like that. Okay, so they go to the competitor for a couple of years, and then they come back and get a promotion. So that was completely out of my mind. I mean, that was a completely new experience for me, and I thought, okay, that's really weird. But that's the real perk of moving abroad, the real perk of working abroad, because you get to know a different culture. You get to know how other cultures and other people work, and what their mentality is and their loyalty with regards to a job. And I actually like the fact that you don't have to stick with an employer for the rest of your life. You're not married to them. And even nowadays, there are a lot of marriages that get that also get a divorce. It doesn't really have, it's not in that sense anymore that you have to stick with that one option. Sometimes I have the feeling that we get overwhelmed because there are too many options out there and we don't even know how to focus. And that is the key to that question: should I stay or should I go? Clarity. Clarity will bring you to that answer, whether you should change the employer or should stick with your employer but change something about your situation. Okay, so what happens if you get that feeling of feeling uneasy, you don't want to go to work, you feel stressed and so on? There could be a couple of physical indicators that will show you that something's not right and you should listen to your body. But then another question pops in that makes you even feel more stressed. That's: what now? What next? What am I supposed to do? Should I quit my job? Is changing the job the only option? What should I do? So here it's very important that you can do a step-by-step approach. So you don't have to overwhelm your system from one day to another. You are for now safe in your job, and it can give you a little bit of hope if you are redesigning who you are, redesigning your career path, redesigning where you want to head to in your job. And step by step, I mean with that, so you need to first find out, okay, what is that professional dissatisfaction? Where does this dissatisfaction come from? Is that just a phase or is it permanent? I can tell you if it is, kind of like when you are in a relationship and you feel uneasy, you should communicate that. Yeah. So you can, and first of all, you need to communicate with yourself and ask yourself these questions. So you need to find out what is the situation or the activities or the people that are involved in these circumstances, why you don't feel happy in your job anymore. Yeah. So the situation, it could be either. It doesn't have to be all three of them. What's the situation when you don't feel comfortable? What are the people that are involved that don't make you comfortable? Or what are the activities that you don't want to be doing anymore? Just in general, what are the circumstances? Okay, so Spotter is saying, I'm automotive mechanic and I'm thinking to move down to Germany. Perfect. Yeah. So when you're in Nigeria, we would probably say you would move north, but down is fine as well. But yeah, I see what you're getting at, and that's a very good idea, Spotter, because the automotive industry in Germany is huge. It's massive. And Max was also, he says, I'm a forklift operator and want to relocate to Germany. Obviously, forklift operators, you have lots and lots of opportunities to work in any sort of industry. They are looking for people like you. It's just a matter of where do you want to go? Yeah, you need to define, again, you need clarity. You need to define where do you want to go. There are so many different ways and industries where you can work. And that is something that you need to define for yourself. So after you've come up with these circumstances, why you don't feel comfortable anymore, the second thing is that you define for yourself what the criteria actually are that are important to you to feel fulfilled at your job. So what do you value the most? What don't you value? Yeah. So what is more important to you? What is less important to you? And then also, how do you wish your future work to look like? Like, what do you want to see when you are working? Yeah, so in here, you can also look at my playlist about reinventing organizations, because there I'm talking about a completely new way of working. Maybe that could give you some insights as well on what kind of questions you should ask yourself. Now, personal development can always be the key to everything. And if you can do personal development in your current employer and you can just simply change your job that you're doing right now. So maybe you get some other responsibility, you can get a promotion, maybe you can work on a special project, maybe you can move horizontally in your company, not always up, but horizontally, maybe in a different department. Maybe you can also do an exchange with another colleague in a different department. I've seen that happening in different companies. So that could be an option for you. And that makes it more exciting, because that is actually what we're looking for when we don't feel satisfied in our job anymore. The problem is that we get bored, and we don't want to get bored. We are people that are living in constant change, and we need to adjust. And lifelong learning is something that is deep inside of us. And if you don't have that, and if you stick with the same routine every day, it just gets boring. And then you need to spice up your game. Yeah. But it's up to you. You need to find out what it is, like what kind of activities there are, or what kind of other departments you always thought that's really exciting. I want to get to know what is going on there. And so that's then what you can communicate to your boss, to your manager, to learn more about the things that you really want to be doing. But first, you cannot communicate that if you don't know about yourself what it is that you really want. And Mojo's here. Hi. Are you back at work yet? Okay. Or maybe you are already not at work anymore. Maybe, have already firearmed, as we call it. Yeah. So you have like a leisure evening. So then you can also ask yourself, what else can I influence to make me feel better? So as you look at the circumstances, so the activities, the people, and also the situation in general, that's what you want to find out. Which of these aspects can you change a little bit so that you feel more satisfied at your job? Then when changing your job, you need to think about, okay, when is changing my job actually the option for me, for you? Yeah. So when is that point? When do you want to change? What's the point of no return, so to speak? Yeah. And obviously you want to define which kind of job actually suits you. So that is something that I cannot answer you, but you could find out in a coaching with me. So if you were to work with me, that is something that I do with my coachees. Yeah. And one of my new clients is actually at that point, and we are looking at that. We are looking at exactly these questions, but we have lots and lots more methods and different exercises that we go through to find out what the ideal job actually looks like and how we can integrate that in their career path. So now, all of these questions can be very stressful again, because you feel uneasy still about your job. You're still in your current job and you don't know what to do. So what is very necessary in that scenery is that you take an outer perspective. So you take a step back and try to get an overview of the overall topic that you're currently focusing on. And you want to ask questions about your life. So how do I actually want to live? Who am I outside of my job? And what is important to me for my future? And one of the questions that I always ask is also, what is most important to you right now? Like currently, is it your family? Is it your financial situation? Is it your living situation? Is it you want to learn a new language? Is it you wanting to live abroad? You wanting to change who you are as a person? Or maybe it's your health, maybe it's your mental health, your physical health. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, that is up to you. That's a question that you need to ask yourself, and that's basically how you get an overview. And you take out the pressure of focusing on the job, on just in particular, just focusing on the job. You want to make a vision for your life, and then integrate your job and the questions about your job in that life. So where do you visualize yourself in 5 years? Are you at the beach? Are you in in southern Germany? Are you in the northern part of Germany? Are you in the western part of Germany? Where are you in 10 years or in 5 years or in 3 years? That's basically up to you. And then from that perspective, you can find out, okay, which is actually the job that I want to take on? What's the job that would get me to that point that I feel happy? And that is very important question that you also ask yourself, how do I want to feel in my new job or in a new circumstance around my job, so that I feel fulfilled, happy, that I have fun at work, that I like my colleagues, all of these things. You need to write that down, okay? And then once you have clarity, you also need a little bit of courage to communicate first with your manager. Maybe they have an idea because they don't know that you're satisfied, right? So you need to tell them, okay, I'm unhappy with my job currently. What can we do? And maybe they have a really cool idea. So, and once you have done that, you can make a decision whether you want to stay with your employer or whether you want to move on and find a new employer. Yeah. So that is something that I cannot answer you, but it is something that I can help you with finding the answer inside of you. So if you are thinking of working with me, you can always book a discovery call with me. So you can do that through my website, lisajans.com. That's also where you find my services, because I am here for you. I know the methods. I've gone through the methods myself. I use the methods every day with my coachees. And I really like the methods. I have so much fun using those methods. And always when my coachees say, oh, why is that something that we don't learn in school? It's so much fun to learn more about myself, because actually this coaching is some sort of personal development as well. And it can spice up things already. So that is something that you need to figure out. So I am here to help you, and feel free to book a discovery call with me. And then I'll speak to you very soon again. Thank you very much for all your interaction. And I wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you and bye-bye.